Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you just heard was none other than the Unholy Four and their mega fucking hit song, Dirty Knife. Check out the Unholy Four on Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you can find the Unholy Four. Podcast specific promo. There's 2 days left in February. So that promo code to get 15% off of your entire order at OttsvilleRecordGarage.com is LOVE, L-O-V-E. Into this February, you have today and tomorrow to use it. We will have a new one next month in for March. Adam is not here. We are recording ahead and scheduling is tight, but we do have my co-host, the country bartender, the official bartender of the Country Hipster Podcast, the country heartthrob. I'm sorry, is more specific. Welcome, Tom Bernard. Welcome.
Thank
Tom.
you, buddy.
How you doing? And we got a corner troll.
The corner troll is here
right now.
She's not going to talk, but she's.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. Oh, and since Tom, there she goes. Since Tom is here on this episode, that means it is also a Booze and Vinyl episode, and this one comes from Booze and Vinyl Volume 2 by best fucking friend of the podcast, Andre Darlington, and his sister, Tanaya Darlington. I don't think we're best friends with Tanaya. I don't know. She doesn't return my messages. It's very, very hurtful. But you should check out Booze and Vinyl Volume 2. If you want to pick it up, or any of the Booze and Vinyl books, or any of the cocktail books, which Andre Darlington has written, go to andredarlington.com and you can click on the link for his books and where to buy them, and you should go and buy them. And today's episode, which is a Booze and Vinyl, as we mentioned, is the Who's Next. Tom, I didn't even fucking ask how you're doing.
I'm doing good. Paul, I got a quick question. What's today's date?
Today is February 27th, 2025.
February 27th. Okay. So when you were mentioning Booze and Vinyl Volume 2, it's funny because consequently, I want to give a shout out real quick if we could.
Absolutely.
On December 29th, way back when, December 29th, which was feels like yesterday to me, but
it does. It does feel like
my friend Amy actually sent me a picture of Booze and Vinyl Volume 2 in a storefront.
Oh, very nice.
Propped up for sale to display, which I sent you, which she saw at a little place in Lambertville. It was was it Foxy Reds, right?
Yes.
It was it? Are we sure?
I think so.
Hold on, let me verify.
Okay. I looked through your messages.
It was, in fact, Foxy Red's Boutique in Lambertville. I want to give them a shout-out because, one, they're awesome for selling booze and vinyl, and also we got to give a plug to our BFF, Andre, for here's where you can go get a copy of the book that we're reviewing tonight.
There you go. There you go. And if anybody's wondering, here's how my text messages go with Tom. I have a link to the Who's Next Remastered. I have a bunch of text messages. I have a picture of a Booze and Vinyl recipe. There's his dick, and then there is the copy of Booze and Vinyl 2, the picture that he sent me yesterday, or back in December.
I have mentioned I got ADHD, buddy. It's all over the place. So you're going to get whatever I'm thinking about at that time. This is just how it goes. Sorry, man. That's how it rolls.
There you go. So this is, like I said, Booze and Vinyl Volume 2. Go pick it up at Foxy Reds in Lambertville or at andredarlington.com. And this is cool. Like, we haven't done a whole lot of Volume 2 at all in either seasons. And there's a lot of good albums in there. And this one was one, which actually we got to talk about this. So this actually was your pick.
This was my pick.
Yes.
Because they didn't have a couple of the other Who albums.
Right. But
again, I feel like I need to mention I was very limited in where I was allowed to pick.
Yes, you were.
So I had to kind of go within the frameworks of what I was given. So this Who album is my favorite Who album.
Okay.
I generally like the Who. I have a lot of they have a bunch of they got 30 releases. Sorry, I'm having a hard time.
It's okay. So you have a seal on your shoulder. It happens.
Yeah. Have you displayed all of the? Okay.
There you go.
So, I generally like the Who. They're like I have good feelings about the band and the band in general and the particular musicians. This particular album is probably for me. They have like 3 or 4 that are like big albums, and then they have a bunch of bullshit like most bands that stuck around for 40, 30 fucking years. Everybody, you're gonna put out some bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I was flipping through the Booze and Vinyl records, I'm like, okay, I like that one. Let's go do this one because it has some big songs on it, and to me, it's a shorter album. So the amount of filler on the album, I want to say, and I don't want to say filler because I don't feel like this album really has any. Is kept to a minimum where there's plenty of big albums out there. I feel like, there's 2 or 3 songs you could just fucking get rid of. And I don't feel like it was. I don't feel that way about this album.
I agree. And well, we will get into that. But we have 2 drinks to make today. We're gonna go with the first one first. But let's do as we usually do. Let's talk about the liner notes from Booze and Vinyl Volume 2 by Andre Darrenson and Zanaya Darrenson. Pardon me. For the first few dramatic synthesizer bars at the beginning of Baba O'Reilly, you're in for a ride. But instead of an art rock opera in the style of their previous album, Tommy, The Who's 5th studio record delivers a straightforward rock and roll statement brimming with smarts and excitement. The album is full of shifting moods, big hooks, and dramatic chord changes, a symphonic emotional roller coaster that is as bracing as it is relentless. This is an album. Let this album give you an auditory recharge, vital and exhilarating. So it's funny that they talk about, and we'll get into it when we get into like the factoids and whatnot, about how like this is instead of an art rock opera in the style of the previous album, Tommy, this album actually started originally as a different rock opera, but we'll get into that into the factoid.
I'm pretty sure it started as a different band, right? This came over from a whole different project, right?
A different project, but it was still the Who, which we'll
the Who. Okay, but there was the original Who iteration had like 9 members, I think, and it was like the 4. But I feel like there was like 8 or 9 of them when it started, so it was like, to me, it feels like it came from a different thing.
Okay.
But I don't know. I could have been drinking all day and I don't remember correctly.
That is a possibility. That is a possibility. Before you drop the needle, set up a portable turntable on your porch and turn the street into an all skate. Could you do that at your neighborhood there?
To do what?
Basically, put a portable turntable on your porch, turn it up, and just tell everybody to roller skate in your street.
No, our front. We could have set up a turntable on my front porch, but it was like 25, 30 yards to the street. There's a lot of grass there. You're not roller skating on that. But also, if anybody in my neighborhood was roller skating, me and my friend Dave Jolly and the neighborhood kids would have been throwing rocks at them.
Yeah, there you go.
So it would have sucked for them if they were roller skating in my neighborhood.
Yes. All right. So the first drink that you're going to make is Teenage Wasteland, right? You're going to make that one first, okay? And it's it's shocking that a famous drink by its name doesn't already exist. What's more teenage than inexpensive whiskey? What whiskey are you using there, sir?
So I'm pulling up the recipe right now. You sent that to me. We had a bunch. Hold on.
Yep.
It just calls for Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskey, yeah.
I'm using Powers Irish whiskey, originally distilled in Dublin. They make it down in Middleton now. It's my favorite of the garden variety Irish whiskeys.
Okay.
Outstanding. Cool. Anything these guys make, if it has Powers, it's a good value. It calls for 1.5 ounces of that. The jigger that I'm using is 1.5 ounces right here.
Okay.
All
right. So what's more teenage than inexpensive Irish whiskey? They use Jameson. You're using Powers, peach schnapps, and that dear friend Jägermeister. Hello, early hangover Dave, or in the correct name, Teenage Wasteoid, or is the correct name Teenage Wasteoid? Doesn't matter. This unholy sounding, but oh so delightful combination will rock you as hard as the Who.
Sorry,
So
I have an assistant bartender here tonight, so I'm
it's okay.
I'm giving directions as I'm doing this.
It's
Just
all
rip
good.
a hole in the bag, man. It's a $4 bag of ice.
What about the ice maker?
Oh,
Yeah. So I need a half ounce of Jägermeister. I've got the Irish whiskey and the peach schnapps in here. I went out and bought a 100 ml bottle. I need a half ounce of Jaeger.
okay.
Okay. Beautiful. So, all right, dash of bitters. They call for a very particular brand of bitters. I don't have that brand of bitters.
Okay. What
There's
the fuck are bitters anyway? Like I see it in a bunch of recipes. I never really
so
understood
these
what they are.
dude. This one here is made the brand that they call for. It Peychaud's, Peychaud. There's a lot. I don't know how to explain how to pronounce it. I'm sure your pronunciation is probably the right one.
Yes, probably. Peychaud's. Peychaud.
Right.
Yes.
So that one is actually made by the people who make Buffalo Trace bourbon right now.
Okay.
But this was made by a guy who came over to the U.S. from Haiti and was living in, like, this one has such a weird fucking story. It's this big herbal distillation that they make, which goes back hundreds of years. And a lot of them, like, they're literally, like, a lot of the bitters that are out there are like some fucking witch doctor came up with this, because it's like herbs and spices and liquor, and they would distill all this shit,
Right.
and like use it for all kinds of medicinal purposes,
like tummy aches and shit, right?
Well, all kinds of cancer, who knows? But people started using them for cocktails many years ago.
Okay.
And there's a lot of brands out there. The one that they call for is a very specific one. It's supposed to be a little more floral than Angostura, which is the big name on the market. I typically use this one, which is Fee Brothers.
Okay.
The one that they call for is a little more floral, so it's supposed to be a little brighter and a little fruitier.
Okay.
They're all...
You know, it's funny. That's how I describe you. When people say, tell me about Tom, I say he's a
bright
little brighter, a little
and
fruitier.
fruity.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I shoot. I'm aiming for bright and fruity. That's what I'm always aiming for, Paul. So anyway, as we were saying, you fucking jerk.
It's not often I can get you off guard like that. So that was good.
No, you nailed it. Bright and fruity, buddy. All right, so the corner troll is shaking that.
Okay.
All right, good enough. Let me borrow
Here
that.
you go.
All right, so we're gonna bust
Can
that
I pour
open.
it? Can I pour it? Can I pour it?
Yeah, put that in there. Oh, yo, put some ice in there.
Hey, you gotta have ice.
I know. It's hard, man. I'm you only train these kids. She's 9, so
You know.
she should be better off, but like just illegal to shoot them. Like it's not.
Yeah. No, I know. I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
you got older kids. You know how it goes.
I do.
All right, pour that in there. Yo, there's a look.
There's
put
a
that down
thing.
that way.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Again, it's illegal to shoot them. You gotta put up with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the old razzle dazzle, kid. Okay, great.
All right. So let's see what this looks like.
So this
Oh, that looks pretty.
it's beautiful. It's got a very nice gold color to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I have an LED kitchen light, so it might be a little different color than what you're seeing.
Okay. Still looks
Yeah,
good.
I'm
though.
seeing it about that color. I guess
Okay.
you're seeing it that color.
Yeah,
so
a little brighter. Okay.
yeah,
let's do
slightly
that.
darker, but it adds a beautiful color to it. I will tell you this: between the Jägermeister and the bitters, I can smell a lot of herbal notes coming off of it. So, what are you drinking, Paul?
I'm just drinking a boobly right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
dry February over there.
No. Just feeling a little under the weather, so I'm, you know what I mean. So just, I'm trying to conserve my energy. So,
I'm not going to shit on you for not feeling well. Okay.
I'm using it.
I appreciate that. What do you think?
I will tell you what. The half ounce of Jägermeister in here and the dash of bitters completely overpowered everything else.
Okay.
This tastes like a less herbal, much colder pile of Jägermeister. This is just drinking straight Jaeger on the rocks.
Okay.
I mean, you think there's an ounce and a half of whiskey in here,
Yeah.
plus
peach
schnapps, and like I can't even taste the peach schnapps. I guess the sweet probably helps.
Right.
Because Jaeger is anything but sweet, and then the dash of bitters, like it's a good cocktail. This is not bad at all. I'm not mad about this at all.
Cool.
But the Jaeger is just so front and center that that's like the Jaeger just takes over. It's everywhere that you can. Yeah.
It sounds like a drink I would like and could probably drink pretty well. From just what's in it and how you're describing it, because I do enjoy Jaeger. I don't mind Jaeger.
It's not nearly as thick as Jaeger is too, because everything you got. We shook it with ice. We put it over ice. This is not bad. I like the flavor. I like it's like a toned down Jägermeister.
Cool.
Not mad about it at all.
Nice. So on to the factoids. This, as mentioned in the description there, this is the Food's fifth studio album from the English rock band The Who, and was released on August 2nd, 1971. It developed from the Lighthouse Project, that was a multimedia rock opera meant to follow 1969's Tommy. So this is something that Pete Townsend was working on, and the manager of the time of The Who, they got into like this, that, and the other thing. So they ended up scrapping the Lighthouse Project and then took the stuff, some of the songs from the Lighthouse Project, and used it for this album. An immediate critical and commercial success, and often viewed as The Who's best album, as well as one of the greatest albums of all time. It ranked 77 on the 2020 Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. The first session of recordings were actually held at Mick Jagger's house in England, with the recording of Won't Get Fooled Again being recorded in Rolling Stone's mobile studio. There's been a couple bands who used Rolling Stone's mobile studio. One of them also being unfortunate friends of the podcast, Led Zeppelin, for Led Zeppelin 4. You right there? Okay. That's it. 3 singles released on the album: Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly, and Behind Blue Eyes. 1971 weekly charts, it peaked at number 1 for UK albums and number 4 for the US Billboard 200. Went platinum in the UK and triple platinum in the US, selling over 3 million copies in the US alone. So that's the basic factoids of it. There's a whole lot of stuff if you look up on Wikipedia about the cover art and the recording process and more about Lighthouse. So if you're interested in that, check that out on the Wikipedia. I didn't want to get too much into that, but yeah, yep. So those are the basic factoids. So I will say I like this album, and listening to it, I like it a lot more than I remember liking it. You know, that was like I have this theory about The Who, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love The Who. The Who is one of my all-time greatest albums. But at one point in time, I realized like most of the Who stuff that I'm listening to, besides Tommy has just been like an all-around album for me. From the time I saw the movie as a kid, I got to see the Broadway play. You know,
Tommy's outstanding. They have Quadrophenia is incredible.
Yeah,
this one to me is one of the 3 or 4 that are a standout to all the others. Every other album they put out had a couple of songs I like. Like the one when I texted you today, I texted you the wrong name. I meant this one. I was like, but who's next? I think I said.
Yep.
And or no, who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah. Not who's next. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking. It's just one of the records that I have.
Yep.
Every one of them has several good songs on it because they're just good musicians.
Yep.
When you get these guys together, they're good. They didn't even fucking like each other, but they could put out how many albums of good stuff?
Oh, tons of them. But so that was my thing. My thought was, because, you know, like I said, besides like really being fully engrossed in Tommy, you know, my thought was like, do I really like The Who or just The Who's greatest hits? And when you look at a lot of like their albums, you notice with like the full tracks of albums, they might only have 1 or 2 hits on the album, and the rest is not like as good. It's just, I'm just like, fuck, is that the case?
No,
But
that's true.
Listening to this album though, it reminded me like that they are so much more than just the hits. And the non-singles on this album are just absolutely solid.
They're good. This whole album's top to bottom is a great album.
Yes.
But this is a band that made their bones. They played, I think they got together in like the 62 or whatever. Like
something like that. Very early on. Yeah.
The immediate, like the main core of the band went to elementary school together, which is fucking crazy if you think about it. But they also benefited from being in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
Because they played at Woodstock. They played at the Live at Leeds at 78, which is they played at like 3 of the biggest concerts that like literally ever happened between 1965 and 1975.
Yep.
And they killed it. And so they really benefited from that. But they also had just good musicians. So they weren't trying to cover up for some shit that wasn't there or try to invent some shit that wasn't there. They just were good at what they did.
When you look at the history of the band too, when they started early on, I believe it was John, Keith, and Pete who went to the same school. I don't know. Maybe Roger did go to the same elementary school, but I knew they at least knew Roger. And at one point, at any rate, they brought him.
He did. No, Keith Moon was the one who wasn't the original.
Was he the? Okay.
He wasn't the original drummer. No, they had a different guy.
Okay.
It was Pete. It was Entwistle, Townsend, Daltrey they knew each other from when they were like 7.
Okay.
But they met Keith Moon like a year after they started the band, so they knew him by like high school.
Right. But I know at one point I believe it was right before their first album came out or right after it came out, Roger Daltrey actually left the band. Which is that?
By the way, Entwistle and Moon, by the way.
Oh, yes. Keith Moon and John Entwistle. Yeah. So Roger Daltrey actually left the band because the rest of the band was partying too much.
He also wasn't the original lead singer. He was like a guitar player or something, and he took over when they made the other guy leave or whatever.
Yeah, and then Pete realized how good of a singer Roger Daltrey was, and that nobody else could sing this stuff like he could, and they kind of came to an agreement, like, okay, we'll party less and we'll do this and that, and then and they went on from there. But I know like apparently there's always been like this like love-hate relationship between Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey, like for eternity.
Dude, nobody in the band liked each other.
Yeah,
for many, many years. There were quotes of them in 1965. Like, when these fucks were in, like, they just got out of high school and they were like, we don't even like each other. But it was also, if you read about how the band interacted with each other, they had, I guess it was played up a lot in the media how much they didn't like each other because it kind of somehow, I guess they worked out a way that it served the band that they didn't like each other. But it turned out that Entwistle and Moon actually got along. The rest of the band, they just fucking didn't like each other. Now, in more recent years, because Roger Daltrey and Pete Townshend are the only two that are alive, they're actually like now kind of in like, oh no, we understand that we're different from each other, whatever. They've also known each other for literally fucking 60 years. So
I know.
It's hard to fucking hate somebody you've been friends with for that long.
Yep.
Even if you wanted to punch them in the face the whole time. I got friends I've been friends with for 20 years. I would have punched in the face. I get that. I get it. But they were also just, every one of them was super fucking talented at what they did. And they knew their role. And like, they were just so fucking good at it. So even if they showed up as mercenaries to do that record.
Yep.
The records came out fucking, you didn't know that they hate each other when you listen to the record.
And in my opinion, one of the reasons that is because Pete Townsend, in my opinion, goes down as one of the greatest songwriters in the history of songwriting. I think he's a great guitar player, but I don't think of Pete Townsend as a guitar player. I think of Pete Townsend as a songwriter and a storyteller. And I think that's kind of the genius behind the Who, because it's all his songs, all his stories.
Yeah. great guitar player or an adequate guitar player, like you're saying. There's not like some blistering solos that he's like. He's not doing some Jimi Hendrix solos or Alex Van Halen's or Eddie Van Halen solos. He knows what he can do. He can play the fucking guitar as he needs to. But he also plays the piano. He plays like multiple different types of synthesizers. He plays fucking brass instruments when he needs to. Like the guy's just a consummate fucking musician, and he's good at pretty much everything.
And he and the Who, but him specifically, are one of the best showmans in rock music ever. You know, which like the Who, in my opinion, is also one of the greatest rock bands ever, and also where I believe the foundation of punk rock and the punk rock attitude was formed. What do you think?
Give me a quick aside here.
Yep. What is that?
I made it.
The Corner Troll spent the last 10 minutes just off camera getting on my fucking nerves, making a giant liter of some other drink for herself, which is V8 and Gatorade and
strawberry,
basically every
kiwi green.
Yeah, everything that she's allowed to drink mixed together. So
so it is not a liter of cola.
Good work, kid. It's not a liter of cola.
Okay,
right, good work. So as we were saying, or as you were saying, what were you saying? Just again, remind me of 10 seconds ago.
So, in my opinion, like not only is the Who one of the greatest rock bands of all time, I believe the foundation of punk rock and the punk rock attitude were formed by the Who.
I don't know if it was just the Who though, because I think
it wasn't just the Who.
That whole,
that
whole sound. I will agree that it was that British like 60s rock, because I think the Stones had just as much influence when it came to that, like, because that's what was the big shit on the radio.
Right.
But these guys, they were very much like, when you listen to this album, you don't think this isn't 1971. This shit sounds like the stuff that came out much later in the 70s. And when you listen to their albums, even the bad ones from the late 70s, you go, oh, that sounds like some 80s shit.
Yeah.
They have a song on Who Are You called 905, which sounds like it was made in 1986.
Yep.
It was made in 1980, or it was like a 78 song.
Yep.
They were always ahead of their fucking time.
Yep.
And I feel like that you're correct. I think they're very much ahead of their own time.
And I think if you take the Who from the, from what everything you were doing from the English side, and then you take the MC5 from the American side who's doing their thing at the same time, you kind of put them together, and that's where fucking punk rock came from. That's where the Sex Pistols came from. That's where the Ramones came from. It's where the Clash came from. It's, you know what I mean? I think it comes from kind of like both sides of the world, and they, combine to with this attitude and this sound to kind of form the next level of rock. Whereas like people would say like Led Zeppelin led to heavy metal, which I could see, but that's where I would think like the Who.
That's like saying Led Zeppelin led to Black Sabbath, but Black Sabbath was around when Zeppelin was around.
Right.
Like the sound was already there, and Black Sabbath was objectively way fucking heavier than Led Zeppelin ever was.
But I think like the Who and the MC5 would be like to that of like towards punk rock as well. So
no, I agree. This could be easily be the predecessor of it. And this was such an early record.
Yep.
It doesn't sound like 1971 though.
Nope.
This sounds like the shit that people were doing much later than that.
Yep.
And I it's why I think it's because I grew up listening to like the 80s and early 80s, late 70s punk music. I think that's why I love these guys, because this shit sounds the same to me. Like it just makes sense for me.
Yep. So we have another drink.
Okay. I've got another clean glass right here. Yo, take this over here.
The side B drink is called the Suffering Fool. Clocking in at 8.5 minutes, Won't Get Fooled Again was an unlikely hit single. It reached the top 10 in the UK, maybe because we can all identify with being made full. The drink is a riff on the famous Suffering Bastard cocktail and comes from bartender Kevin Denton during his days at New York's WD-50. So what are we looking at here?
We're looking at all right, ounce of ginger juice.
Okay. What is ginger juice, by the way? Is it just juice of a ginger? Did you kill a redhead and squeeze their blood?
Actually, the redhead is perfectly safe. I just talked to her like today. She's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're good. The redhead's okay. No, so ginger syrup you can get. It's like a simple syrup that you would throw a bunch of ginger root in and boil it down and whatever.
Cool.
So we have our ginger syrup. We are going to go 1 ounce of bourbon.
What bourbon are you using?
I'm using the Woodford Reserve that I brought over to the garage. This is what's left here. Okay. It's a solid bourbon. It's one of the 3 that I have in the house because I don't love bourbon, so I have I have some bourbons. All right, this drink here is also made with fresh lime juice. Now, prior to us filming, I went and squeezed a couple limes, so I have fresh lime juice. I'm going to put 1 ounce of that in here. Okay. What do we got? We got 1 ounce of dry gin.
Yeah. So it specifically calls for London dry gin.
London dry. So there's a lot of different types of gin. London dry gin is the one that you're probably most familiar with. That's the
Beefeater.
Yeah, it's like if you got the last time you got fucked in the mouth by a pine tree.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that happens to me all the time.
You never know what's going to happen in fucking Ottsville. Like,
exactly.
A lot of pine trees around Latsville. All right, I need a 1/2 ounce of honey here too, so I'm going to put that in a shaker that is pre-filled
with ice.
With ice. We got to add a 1/2 ounce of honey, which I'm not even going to be able to get this bitch open.
Yep.
I can do it. Let me try.
Yeah, because you're way stronger.
I am.
I got it. Just got to put a little ass into it. Okay. All right. Honey.
Oh.
Yeah, we're adding a 1/2 ounce, which is nothing. All right. And we're going to put that in here.
Can I do it?
Yeah, where'd my other shaker go?
Over there.
There we go. All right, here goes, Paul.
Okay.
Shake the shit out of that. All right, go ahead. Pour. All right, we're working on it now. All right, cool. Now give me some ice cubes.
Here's some of them.
Yep, throw them right in there. Great. Okay, we're good to go.
All right. So this is the Suffering Fool. How's this guy look? Oh,
like every other drink we make on this podcast.
Yeah, another pretty one.
Oh, without the
LED. Okay. Okay.
Woo!
There you go. Now you are supposed to put a cucumber slice for garnish there, Tom.
And I have a cucumber in my house.
There you go.
It is February, so yeah, they're a little sparse. So the honey definitely makes I can smell it.
Okay.
It's a little unusual, but not
a little strong on the honey end.
No, it just has a sweet smell.
Just the aroma. Okay.
I like that a lot, Paul. That's a really good cocktail.
That's a really good one. Okay.
It's a really good cocktail.
Which says a lot because you said you don't like bourbon.
I don't love bourbon. I like all the other shit that's in here. There's a lot of flavor in here. Mm-hmm. The honey just kind of the little bit of sweet. I tend to like sweet in cocktails anyway. The gin and the bourbon play nice together, which is weird.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which is odd to me because I don't know that I've ever mixed gin and bourbon aside from I think that shot that you barfed all over the place.
Oh God, yeah, that was horrible. That was one of the things with this where I'm just like, man, you're putting bourbon and gin in this. Like I was like, and I love gin. I'm not huge on bourbon, but I do love gin. No,
I got to be honest. In this cocktail, Andre and Tanaya did a good job. But the gin and the bourbon play really well together in this.
Nice.
There's a lot of flavor. The ginger puts. I mean, again, I love ginger, so the ginger flavor in there with everything else, and the lime juice, like it's all over the place, but it's a really pleasant flavor, and they play This is a good cocktail.
Good.
Andre and Tanaya did a good job on this one.
There you go, man. I'm impressed because you're usually much more critical of the cocktails. I think this. I gotta say, this might be the like. Would it be too much for me to say that this is your favorite cocktail thus far of all the booze and vinyls?
No, there's been a couple of my really
okay.
There's been we're gonna have to maybe for season 3 we'll go back through all the booze and vinyls and I'll make a list of like which ones we hated and which ones we liked.
Like the
There's
greatest
been a few of them I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Or that could be bonus content because we are going to have a pretty long layoff between season 2 and season 3. It could be bonus content.
I could do some bonus content and go through the list of what the name of the cocktail was, who liked it, who hated it.
There you go. So check that out. The Suffering Fool, which is a hit. Both drinks are a hit. The Suffering Fool a little bit more of a hit, according to Tom.
First one was good. I still got a tiny little bit left. Second one's better, but they're both good. Both solid fucking cocktails.
There you go. And you can check them out in Booze and Vinyl Volume 2 by Andre Darlington and Tanaya Darlington. And you can pick that up at AndreDarlington.com and Foxy Red in Lambertville. And
Foxy Red's in Lambertville. Yes. Great shout out.
And wherever else you can find Booze and Vinyl. So, Tom, have you ever had the opportunity to see The Who live?
I have not.
Okay. So
dude, 2 of the members died like pre-2005.
So I got to see them, meaning like, so it was the tour in 2002, and which is
nice. Because Keith Moon died in 2002, but
Keith Moon died well before that. Keith Moon died a long time ago. Keith Moon
died.
Yeah, hold on. Keith Moon died. Oh, helps if I spelled it right. He died in 1978. So
who the fuck am I thinking of that died in 2002?
So what happened was, which I'm about to explain, is that tour that I saw them in 2002, I figured it's probably going to be one of the last times to see The Who. They're getting older and whatnot. So we got tickets. And the day before the tour started I believe they were playing in Las Vegas, in Nevada, in the Hard Rock Cafe Hotel, John Entwistle died.
I was thinking of Entwistle.
Yep, he died of a heart attack, a cocaine and prostitute-induced heart attack.
Yeah.
That, he died of
the best death ever, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But so I thought at that point, fuck, they're just going to cancel a whole tour. But they went on with it. They took a little bit of a break, rescheduled the first few dates to grieve, but then we're like right back at it because we saw them towards the end of July in Canada. It was me and a friend of the podcast, Sean from the Unholy Four. We went to see them. Robert Plant opened up, and it was it was definitely missing something because that was one of the things. Like I in my opinion, Entwistle is a top 5 all-time bassist. For me personally, he's my favorite bassist, but when you're comparing bassists, he's probably a top 5. So I was so looking forward to seeing him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him, but we still got to see a really good show. And it was good. It was an amazing show. And that's the only time I got to see him. I never really bothered to check them out again. Friend of the podcast and my brother Michael, he actually got to meet, Keith Moon was already dead, but he actually got to meet the 3 of them when they played Philly in the late 80s. So I think he tells the story that, so we had an uncle who was a comedian in Philadelphia at the Electric Comedy Factory Outlet, something like that. I forget. Comedy Factory Outlet. That's what it was called in Philly. And WMMR,
buy a pair of fucking discount jeans and see some comedy at the outlet.
So WMMR was a big component there. Somehow, also my uncle knew Pierre Robert, DJ Pierre Robert. So he basically called in a few favors and said, "Hey Pierre, I want to bring my nephew to see The Who. Can he come?" So Pierre's like, "Oh yeah, fuck." Gave him tickets, gave him passes. So at one point, before they're hanging out in the sound booth up top of the Philadelphia Spectrum, and Pierre Robert's like, "I got to do this interview with The Who. As long as you guys don't say a fucking word, you guys can stay." And he was like, "All right, cool." So my brother got to stay. The Who came in, shook everybody's hand. So he met Entwistle, Roger Daltrey and Townsend. Entwistle apparently came in, shook everybody's hand, and then left. Whereas like Daltrey and Townsend stayed. And my brother even got a picture taken with Pete Townsend. He might have gotten a picture with Roger Daltrey as well, but he definitely, there is in his house somewhere a picture of him and Pete Townsend in the upstairs sound booth at the Philadelphia Spectrum from like whatever 1980 something show that was.
Yeah, that's super fucking cool.
Yep. So yeah, so like just overall, I have so many just good thoughts of the Who. They're probably like I said, like I tell people, like people are like, you don't like Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. I was like, no, but I like the Who and the Rolling Stones.
I don't
You know?
I don't like either of those, but I do like the Who and the Stones. I'm the same way.
Exactly.
Please.
You know, but just so many
One
good
second,
things.
Paul.
Yep.
Please let me finish what I'm doing. Thank you. Anyway, back to what we're doing.
That's all good. So good. So many good thoughts about the album. So many good thoughts about the Who. Just just greatness all together, man. It seems like you're pretty much on board with that.
I am. I generally like the Who. I have a bunch of their records that I've just acquired over the years, and not because I go out of my way to acquire Who records. It just kind of happens. Or yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take this one.
Yeah.
So when I was flipping through my collection to see if I was actually surprised I didn't have this one because I'm familiar with it.
So am I, actually. This is one I don't have in my collection as well, where I'm like, fuck, I don't have this. I got to get this.
I have 7 Who records. I do not have this one.
Nice.
But anyway, so you like this album, Paul.
Yes.
And I like this album.
Yes.
But totally fucking irrelevant for our purposes. So what does Regina, the most perfect little baby around, think of this record?
Well, when Baba O'Reilly came on, specifically the synthesizer in the beginning, she perked up, looked up, and just started singing along.
Good, yeah. It's such you can't not like that song. You cannot like hate that song.
So overall, goes down as a like for Regina. So that brings you at 7 likes and 1 indifferent. You have no dislikes. And you have 1 album left. And
what can I say, man? I like music that children like. That's
I know, and you are a dislike away from. Well, you're a like away from beating me for the affection of my daughter, because I have 8 likes and 1 dislike and 1 indifferent. So if you end up with 8 likes and no dislikes, you win the Regina factor. Adam,
I'm not sure what do I get something for that?
No, just she might give you a high five or something.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Adam's at 6 likes, 2 dislikes, and an indifferent. And the listeners are at 5 likes, 2 dislikes, and 3 indifference. What are your top 3 songs, Tom?
So my top 3 songs on this, Baba O'Reilly is always going to be my number 1 song on this album. I love the song. I love the way it starts out. It's the song's long as shit, and it still doesn't feel like it's too long.
Yep, could be longer.
I love everything about the song. It's always been my favorite song on this album. I love the way the album ends with "Won't Get Fooled Again," which I love that. So this is one of the things I love about this album. I love the way it starts. I love the way it ends.
Yep.
In the middle, I could pick. All right, listen. I can say the song is over, getting in tune, whatever.
Yeah.
There are several of them. I'm gonna say. I think my third, whatever. Those are my 2. I've got several others. I like when they covered the fucking Limp Bizkit song "Behind Blue Eyes." That was awesome.
Yes, it was amazing. Limp Bizkit wrote that in like the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the Who covered it in 1971. So that's
figured it was Fred Durst's dad wrote that song. I think "Getting in Tune" might be my third favorite song.
Okay.
But again, I like this. I like this whole album. I love the energy on the album, though. Even the songs that again, there's only 9, and I don't feel like there's a filler on this album. I like the way that they keep the energy up the entire fucking time. I don't feel like there's one where they just kind of throw it in there and they're just like, all right, look, dickheads, we're gonna play 4 minutes of shit to put it on it. We gotta make a record. Like, I never get this from this album.
Yep. So my number one is definitely same as yours, Bob O'Reilly. Bob O'Reilly is also one of those songs like similar to Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll. That is a song that is probably in my top 5 of all time favorite songs. I love listening to the song, and the few times I've had the opportunity of playing the song, I love playing the song.
It's a hard song not to like. There's so much good shit about it. Like, yeah.
Yep. My number 2, again, How It Begins, How It Ends. Won't Get Fooled Again. Specifically, the thing that really gets me the most about Won't Get Fooled Again is just that like extended synthesizer in the middle, you know, and it's just going and it's going and it's building and the energy's building, and then fucking Roger Daltrey comes in with the scream. That's like one of the best like rock and roll moments, like whether it's live or recorded or anything like that scream, that build up is just like, yes, that is rock and roll to me right there. So Won't Get Fooled Again is my number 2. My number 3 is Bargain, like, which is a song that I kind of forgot about until I started listening to. It's like, man, this is a great fucking song. And I have an honorable mention of Getting in Tune.
Okay.
So I was able to have a least, and it's really not even like a least. It's just kind of like the least on this album. I think it'd probably be the best song on other albums, and that's
my
Going
least
Mobile.
Was Going Mobile.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get to that point yet, but my least was Going Mobile.
Yeah,
I would have said.
Yep, and that's mine. So, and it's just, and like I said, it's so Going Mobile, and I know it's also, you know, it's convenient to say this because that's the song that Pete Townsend sings on this. Going Mobile feels more like Pete Townsend's solo stuff than the Who.
But he didn't do a bad job with the vocals.
No,
I just feel like
not at all.
That song, like, kind of was like a.
Yeah,
it was like a weird bridge in between, like the beginning of the album and the end of the album, and it didn't. I don't even. It made sense. Like, it's not that it didn't make sense. It was fine. It's not a bad song.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
I just think the rest. There's only 8 other tracks on the album, and I think the fucking other 8 of them are better than that one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's there's not like one on here where I'm like, this is a shitty song. Yep. This shouldn't be on this fucking album.
Yep.
I feel like this one where when we talked about like the Beastie Boys, I'm like, look, there's a song in here I don't love. It doesn't fit. Here's where we are. It's not a bad song, though. Yeah. It's just, I could do without it, but it's not a bad song at all.
I hear you. All right, so on to the Discogs value. As we, and I'll just go over it again for everybody who has not been watching the whole season. For the Booze and Vinyl episodes that, so Tom can get his value towards the Big D. We take a bunch of different pressings. We get the very good plus value of those pressings, and then he gets the average price of those, which goes towards his running total. So I looked at 5 different pressings. It's actually pretty amazing. So a 1971 US pressing, the very good plus value is $25. A 2008 reissue goes down to $17. There's a 2023 Coke bottle colored vinyl of it, which is at $30. You would think with the US pressing, the 71 US pressing being $25, you would think like the 71 UK pressing would be about the same. Nope, that's at $71. And then, and this particular pressing, okay, and this is where you kind of get screwed a little bit on the Big D, but you know, just the way we're doing it for this. This
is not my album, so whatever.
Yes, yeah. This has a special place in my heart. So there is a 2012 Music on Vinyl 180 gram blue marble vinyl pressing of this. So why this has a special place in my heart is because this particular version was brought about because of my former employee, the now defunct Soundstage Direct. So they actually, I guess, licensed that version of the album and put it out there. And that's also where I learned for the first time that numbered albums are a bunch of bullshit, because we also sat there and put the stickers on every single one of the albums.
Yeah, you could just keep making more numbers, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a limited pressing of 1,000, and there were exactly 1,000. I can tell you that much. At that time, I don't know if Music and Vinyl ever went back and did more. They could not have. But at any rate, that particular version of the album, the very good plus vinyl on that is $228. So when you average all those up, based on the 5 pressings, that brings your very good plus value at $75. So
that's incredible for this album.
yes. So Tom, you actually at this point have now jumped into second place on the search for the Big D. You are at $586. I'm still in first place at $823. I'm sorry, did I say $586? Yes, I'm in first place at $823. The listeners, you leapfrog the listeners, they are at $585. So you're definitely going to beat the listeners.
The listeners are a bunch of dumb motherfuckers. We all know that, right? Literally the dumbest people on the planet.
Yep. And then Adam, who only has one album left, is bringing up the rear at $522. So he's got to have a big fucking payday to win the Big D back. And
always
he might not even beat
rear,
you.
though, too.
What's that?
I said he always brings up the rear. Yeah.
He does. So let me go grab the box of Mike. Which
watch out for Michael Stripe.
Yes, he's all dick.
He's all dick, that guy.
We only have a few episodes left. This is overall episode 98. It's 34 of season 2, but overall 98. So we're very close to our 100th episode coming up. So we only have 2 left. So this is either going to be your last Booze and Vinyl, or it's going to be Adam's last album. And
I like it.
Card number 25. Oh, wait a minute. I just remembered. Even with this, with Adam, you actually get the credit for this one as well, because it's a Booze and Vinyl as well.
Oh,
and it is
touch my dick, Adam.
That's right. It is The Doors. The Doors. Adam's pick. It's from Booze and Vinyl Volume 1, which I have.
Oh, damn it! I fucking hate The Doors.
Do you really?
Yeah, I don't like The Doors.
All right.
This makes sense.
I do like The Doors.
They just never made sense to me. Like, I try to listen to them, and I don't get it.
Okay.
I promise that I will listen to them with an objective fucking. I will do my best to be objective about The Doors.
Yep. So there you go. Booze and Vinyl Volume 1. The Doors. It's Adam's pick, and that'll be next week's episode. And that'll be fun. Tom, do you have anything else to say about this album?
No. It was cool. I again, like I said, I did generally like The Doors. Generally like The Who. I don't like The Doors. Listen to The Who. I'm listening like, oh, okay, I forgot about this song. I forgot about this one. It's a good album, man. They're fucking good. It was cool to get to listen to again. I like the cocktails. Andre and Tanaya did a good job.
Nice. Good. All right. On that note, it is time to